This is phase one of our 30-day writing plan. This is where students are going to be working on the outer parts of the essay. For all of the lessons during this phase, they'll be using the box paper. Please make sure they're using box paper for all of phase one. You'll see here on the chart, I've listed the day, the objective for that lesson, the lesson number, as well as any additional notes for that lesson that may be needed. You'll see that you start with 6 lessons on planning, then you go into introduction, topic sentences, and then go to conclusion. At the very end, you're going to put it all together. Down here, you'll see that on day 16, which is lesson 48, you're going to be using a test from lesson 48. Now remember, because we're in phase one, for this test, they're only writing the introduction, the topic sentences for each middle paragraph, and then the conclusion, because we're going to work on the middle paragraphs in the next phase. Okay, so it's important that on that lesson 48, right down here, you can see lesson 48, that they are using the box paper for the test and that they're only writing the introduction, the conclusion, and just the topic sentences for each middle paragraph. And then the last lesson for phase one is day 17 here, lesson 45. You're going to be conferencing with students on that test that they took the day previously. This is phase two of the 30-day writing plan. Remember, from this point forward, all students should be able to write an introduction paragraph, a topic sentence for each middle paragraph, and a conclusion paragraph. These are all things that they got done in phase one. So now we're moving into the middle paragraphs and the sentences that are full of support and elaboration. Just like in phase one, I have laid out the day, the objective, and the lesson number, along with any additional notes that may be needed. You'll see here on day 23, which is lesson 108, they are taking a full test. So I just put in a note that they will need 2 hours that day for the test. As you go through the rest of the lessons, you're going to keep building on those middle paragraphs. Some of the lessons or the days require you to go over 2 lessons. You'll see here on day 26, there are 2 lessons, but these are things you've gone over before. So I'm hoping that you're able to combine those 2 lessons, make them short and sweet, and get them done in that time frame. I did also add a lesson at the end, which is lesson 91, called the last minute strategy. This is a great strategy for test takers, so I did add it in as the last one just to make sure you have time to go over it. Please make sure you read through the testing notes always before taking tests. This is something that I want all teachers to try to do, and this is where you take notes as students are taking the test, as they're writing. And this is important because we don't have time to go home that night and grade everyone's paper to provide feedback the next day. And feedback the next day is key to being successful in a 30-day plan. So don't worry about going home and scoring and grading. As they are writing, as they are taking that writing test, take notes. Do a simple chart, a simple Excel spreadsheet, even something you just write up on a piece of paper, have their name and then maybe an empty box. And as they're taking a test, circulate the room and make sure you take notes. You know, maybe they're struggling with planning, maybe they didn't finish, whatever the notes are, make sure you're taking them. So then the next day when you conference, because you can see on the plan, every time I have a test day, I have a conference plan after that, that you're able to conference with them and go over those strengths and weaknesses.